This spring, many homeowners will be taking on those home improvement projects, and planting a tree is one way to increase your property value. But do you really know which type of tree would be best, or how far you should be planting from your home or other structures? Before you take on that DIY project, help is here. I'm so happy to welcome certified arborist and tree climbing champion Mark Chisholm. Mark, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Stephanie.
So why is it so important to consider planting a tree before we tackle those DIY projects?
Well, you know what? There's a lot of reasons to plant a tree. Before you do, though, there's a few things to think about. And that's number one is think about where you want to put it and is it the right tree for the right location. So what that really means is know your location as far as your hardiness zone. So if you're in Florida, don't plant a tree that's good for Boston and vice versa. That's number one. Number two is think about how mature the tree is going to look when it's fully grown. You know, is it going to be this big? Is it going to be this big? Don't put a 100-foot tall, live oak next to your house if, you don't want to have to cut it down later in life.
Well, and as a certified arborist and a tree climbing champion, I might add, talk about the benefits to planting trees, because not only are they pretty to look at, not only are they neat, but they also do a lot for us as far as our air quality, right?
Absolutely. Trees they provide a lot of benefits. Let's be real about it. I mean, we should all know that they give you oxygen, they take pollutants out of the air, they provide shade, they protect us from the wind, storms and such, moderate temperatures around the home. They increase your property value too, we don't want to forget that. But some of the things they do outside of that a lot of people don't think about is even like the studies that go on in urban environments. They found that trees in urban environments actually reduce crime rate as compared to urban areas with no trees.
So also talk about maybe the tools that we need if we're ready to get those trees in the ground and start planting. What do we need? What are the best tools to start planting?
Well, for planting a tree, you don't need a whole lot. You can use something like a power auger for certain trees and small shrubs and such. You can use the hardy shovel, that you can go, if you're doing a big hole, you might need a machine to assist you, but most people won't take on a project that big. But when you start to think about planting a tree, I'll tell you this. First and foremost, when we look at our tree, when you get it from the nursery, take a look at where the soil level is, because that's a starting point of how deep you want to plant it. And what that means is when you plant your tree, it should roughly be about 1 inch to 2 inches above the ground so it's not sunk in too far. Most people nowadays, I find, plant them too deep. They think they got to be really protected by the soil, and that's a mistake because they don't get the oxygen, they don't get the water content they need, and then the tree's going to have a lot more problems and stress to get started. Number two, and the big one here too, is make sure that you plant that tree in a hole that's wider than you think you need, because that disrupts the soil and allows the roots to get out there and explore like they need to, instead of being compacted and start to have root problems and grow in different directions.
Lots of good stuff to know. And then Mark, about 30 seconds left. When do we know when it's time to call in the professionals and let them take care of it?
Well, you want to call a pro when you have to do one of two things especially. One is climbing off of above the ground. If you got to work at height, if you're not trained to, don't do it. It's a risk. A lot of people fall off of ladders because you can imagine pruning the branch off, comes down, hits the ladder, takes the ladder out. If you're not protected from a fall, that's a problem. And number two is power lines. Power lines are above ground. Trees grow into power lines. If you're not trained, stay away from that environment too.
Mark, thank you so much. And is there anywhere we can go online to learn more about what you talked about today?
Yeah, for sure. You can go to tipsfortrees.com. It's a great resource.
Thank you so much for taking time to chat with us. So add planting a tree to your spring cleaning list. And if you want to learn more on these tips, head to our website, fox4morningblend.com.